place. Point is, my frustration is, as soon as you open your mouth, as soon as you open your mouth and say, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, I ask the person, so how well are you prepared?
Yeah.
Do you have a go bag in your trunk of your car?
Right.
Does it have a flotation device in it?
Right.
Do you have a seatbelt cutter and a PD that you have strapped onto your rear view mirror?
Yeah.
Right. Or are you going to try to dig through the shit through your glove box with everything else in it, not remember where you're at? You're deploying from your vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? Do you live in a brush area?
Yeah.
Right? What type of fire suppression system do you have?
Yeah.
Do you have private fire? Again, another area that we specialize in.
Right.
Right? So a lot of people think that it's never going to happen.
That's the worst. That's the worst thing you can think about.
Who sticks his head in the sand because he's lazy and he doesn't want to do the work.
Or afraid.
Okay.
Fear as well.
Yeah. But again, it's an uncomfortable thing to think about. When I talk about disaster planning, and I do it for all types of clients, right? Across the world.
Right.
Governments, hospitals.
Civilians.
And what I do is I just watch the climate, right? And when I see many of my ultra rich clients setting off-grid operations.
Yeah. Getting prepared. Same here.
So what is it they know that I don't know? But I know what they know because they're coming to us and saying, hey, when you have those scenarios, you're prepping, you're getting everything organized. Day one is critical.
Right.
And most people are hesitant, right? They're like, power's gonna go back on. No, act as if it's not, because by day 3, you're like, oh, this thing could be a long time scenario. You know what the biggest problem is with people? A lot of men are proud.
The pride,
You know, listen, there's no pride. There's no heroes.
100%.
If you're not part of a community, if you're not connecting with us and connecting with our groups, I have an incredible community. Why? Because you don't have like, hey man, teach me.
100%.
Show me, why do you have that? Why do you have that? I keep them in the question. They're like, why so many questions? I'm like, I want to know how you think, how you move, what in your life brought you to this point to put this in your bag. You could put together a really simple plan, have the gear, have 6 months of food, right? That is all those tutorials you can see online.
Right.
You can know your lay of the land of where you're at, but just know that you may not be there.
Right.
So you should have a sat phone on you all the time. And be able to move in and around the space that you're at.
Sat phone,
There's so much to cover on that type of stuff. It's not something that you would cover in a podcast. It's more of a, and I always say
listen, it's come to the training. Come to the training. And just a quick reminder, you guys, we have a training coming up, the California Grid Down Survival Training Package. This is where we cover all this stuff. We cover getting prepared. We cover mobility. We cover overlanding out, setting your vehicle up, getting vehicles unstuck. We cover finding building fires, water, purification, building shelters, processing animals, plant identification, what you can eat, what you can't eat, all those different things, what medicines you can find naturally, building out your go bag, bugging in, bugging out, go, no go criteria, comms. Like the course is a 72-hour submersive, absolutely immersive training package. So you live it. There's a force on force component, so you're dealing with setting security for your tribe, maintaining that security, dealing with raids, learning how to set an ambush, all the things that you're going to need in order to survive. So keep an eye out for that. The links will be underneath this video, this podcast, and that's coming up.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God.
Go. Boom. What's up, man? It's good to finally be able to kick this thing off. How you been?
Good. You know, it's been a while coming, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We're both always so busy, but when we get to tie up on ops and stuff like that, it's always such a good time, you know.
You never know what's coming at you.
You never know what's going to go down, man. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with my brother, Steve Slepcevic, Special Response Partners, Saber Defense Team, but also just a brother in Christ, brother I've been downrange with, someone who I really honor and am glad to be able to work with, you know. And we want to talk to you guys a little bit about disasters, disaster response, what you guys can do. So with no further ado, man, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. You know, I always go back to, you know, how do we respond in our lives?
Yeah.
You know, and for me, it's always starts spiritually.
Yeah.
Right? Where God says, prepare your house, right? Because you never know when the enemy comes, right? And what it means to truly prepare your house is, where am I at spiritually? You know, and having been on deployments from all the major disasters since 1989, right? Not throughout just the United States, but internationally as well, you know, and working on over 14,000 plus projects. There's a lot of things along the way that I've learned, and the people that have come into my life to be coaches, right? To be those instruments that in any disaster, God sends angels, right? And in those moments, there's so many things that change really dynamically, really quickly. But after every event, doing the after action reports, it's beautiful to see, because so many times we don't have answers, but the answers are tuned and channeled through us, through God, to actually step in those moments and go one way versus another way. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I think what you're saying, there's a lot of wisdom in it. Beyond the fact that you've been dealing with these disasters for my lifetime. You know, you said, what was it? You started doing this work in the 89.
89.
Did you say 89? How many disasters roughly was that?
Oh man,
It's countless.
You know, one of the first was Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah,
you know?
Which I heard about as a young boy my entire childhood. I got stories of my grandma in the straw market, you know, with water up to her ankles, up to her waist, I think it was, like trying to find her way out of there, you know. So
yeah, back then the communication wasn't what we have today.
Yeah.
Right. I look back and it's like how we knew where to go and what to do.
Yeah.
Was just very organic, right? It was all hands on deck, and you met people along the way, and the mission got accomplished. And then I remember, because I grew up in LA, in Hawthorne. My parents are immigrants, you know, and
immigrants, and then that's another touch point that we connect on, because we're both of our parents were both from that world, you know, of getting out here and just getting stuff done. No excuses, no nothing. You know, I hear my parents saying, you got to be twice as good to get half as much respect. We're going to outwork everybody. You know, no excuses.
Yeah.
So,
and in that aspect of it, like, we grew up in Hawthorne, and if you remember the 70s and 80s in Hawthorne, 60s, 70s, 80s, it was a rough area. A lot of it was run by the Bloods and Crips. You had the Latin gangs. In Hawthorne, in the school, there were stabbings all the time, but there was no police resource officers. Law enforcement was Hawthorne PD responding to it, you know.
Okay.
And even when you look at some of the stuff that Ice Cube talks about, you know, with that whole era, that era was that time. It was just a lot of tension,
Yeah. I mean, I remember trying to put marketing packages together for our training ops, and looking at FBI crime statistics, right? And I'm like, it's the most dangerous time. And I'm like doing my research, be like, is it really, like, what are we looking at in terms of violent encounters? You know, as opposed to the 2000s versus any other period of time. And it was like the 70s and 80s were by far more violent in terms of actual force-on-force violence in the state of California than any other era. So what you're saying is true.
And then when the Rodney King, you know, that whole situation showed up, you know, we started doing board up security at that time in Hawthorne, Inglewood, Lenox, Compton. That area was my backyard, South Central.
Earning it.
I mean, I was in and out of that area. I lived there, right? So to me, every night the ghetto bird was up, right? You're running one direction, other direction. And I fought my way through elementary school. First day of kindergarten, I got in a fight because I was a immigrant kid that came in, didn't speak English, right? Mom put me in a suit and tie, and good Christian boy going to school. He's going to be a doctor when he gets up, right?
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was those were great lessons. I wouldn't change anything. Yeah. But everything that I taught, what I was taught, people say, were you ex-military? I'm like, no. Raised by Serbian parents that left the communist country. My father spent 7 years in prison for not wanting to take a weapon because of his faith.
Yes.
So he was, I'm not going to kill no man for king or country.
Right, but he was a man of values.
Yes.
That was ready to stand on those values and take whatever comes with it, and that's a real man.
And it's interesting because his family were the Chetniks that were the resistance to the communist government during World War II.
Okay.
So he witnessed all his uncles, aunts, the entire family get wiped out by the Ustaše. Ustaše were a group that were Croatian, And even the German Nazis were like, these guys are worse than us. You know, because they were ruthless when they would walk. And my dad's family lived right on the Serbian-Croatian border, and they were the ones that were rescuing the downed U.S. airmen, which became known as the Halyard mission, the rescue of over 500 U.S. airmen and Allied soldiers that were flying from Italy over Serbia to bomb the Paleski oil fields in Romania. And they were getting shot down by Nazi-occupied in Serbia. And they created a landfield called Pranjani. It took them 3 years to create that landfield under enemy, Nazi patrol. And what was interesting was many people didn't know that they used the Tuskegee Airmen to buzz the towers of the Nazis while they were doing these rescue missions.
Yeah, keep them occupied.
You know what I mean? And they were the ones taking enemy fire. As a matter of fact, one of the Tuskegee Airmen that got down during that operation got a chance to meet his son.
Wow.
And it was became part of a movie where the Tuskegee Airmen, the first kid he met was like a young boy in the field who came to find him with his downed aircraft. And he brought him to the farmhouse. They hid him until for a year or so before they could actually get him out of that area.
Wow.
Right? And he ate all his meals with them, took care of the kids. He wouldn't be seen in town, right? And when he left that boy his boots. And then his son, we had the opportunity to introduce his son to the boy that gave his father his boots.
Wow.
That his father gave the boots to.
Yeah, that's a small world. That's meaningful. That's the real life stuff that happens, that a lot of people don't, thank God, but a lot of people don't understand the weight of that. I mean, I don't want to get too crazy, but we just had a situation with the jab, and you see what people stand on and how they stand and how they move, And I think what is super valuable and powerful about what you're saying, what you're really saying too, is the being spiritually grounded and spiritually prepared for what's coming. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to tie all this is getting tied into the current threat landscape around emergencies and emergency preparedness that you guys are going to get to learn from us on here, and then also an invitation to come and train with us on emergency preparedness and what we're doing together with the California Grid Down Survival Training, and what he's seeing out there in the real world right now in emergencies. So we're getting to those points, but we're building, we're making the cake right now, So, but what I think is super awesome and super important about what you're saying is the spiritual grounding that's necessary to be able to effectively move during these times when you're watching everything in the physical go absolutely crazy. That's really where we get our roots and where we get our power, where we get our discernment from during these times. And the preparation that goes into that, and the preparation that goes into our families, and the preparation that goes even into our physical bodies, being physically capable to navigate these things. This is really how you win the battle before the battle even starts. And I think a lot of people miss that. I was doing a job for a high net worth family a few years ago, and they asked me, they're like, the wife was like, what do we do after, it goes down, we get into this bunker, and what do we do after that? Like when it's done and we come back up. And I remember looking at her and I was like, well, you start a gang. You got to get a band of men that are willing to stand behind you, unified by honor, who are going to help you survive the next flood, because what's going to be the number one currency is going to be masculine spiritual certainty. Do these men feel like they're with a group of people that they're going to trust to help them survive whatever it is that's going down? And so we find ourselves again back at this spiritual grounding of it, And how would you get into kind of, and I don't want to take you off whatever direction you were going, but when you're ready, how would you get into people being ready spiritually, psychologically, etc.? And then we'll get into the physical.
So all of it, I find, is what gets poured into us. It's so critical that as fathers that we show up for kids, because they don't hear what you say. No. It's all nonverbal. They sense what you do and how you show up. And in the most challenging of times as a father, how I stepped in trusting in the unknown, stepping into putting all my trust and faith in God.
Yeah.
And that spiritual thing that was my compass.
Yeah.
And taking me through some of the most difficult times, I thank God, because my kids got to witness what it means to come on the other side, maintaining integrity.
Right. And they see you get your metal tested.
Yes. and it's so easy to sell out in the weakest of moments. And it's just not in my fabric.
Right.
And when I look at my father, who grew up dirt poor, right? Tending to pigs, right? He lost his father when he was 2 years old. He lost his mother when he was 12 years old, right?
Wow. Yeah.
When he became a Christian, he at 17, just before he's supposed to show up for military duty, and then spending 7 years in prison because his faith was questioned. Hey, you can just take a gun, be in and out in 2 years, and denounce your faith, and you're okay, 2 years. But you're going to take a 7-year hit of hard time in a difficult prison, right? And he's like, this is my faith. This is the path that I go. Then when he got out, he got resentenced to another 30 days. He got resentenced another 7 years. He escaped in Austria. Over there, it's sniper fire. They don't deport you.
So he did his 7, and then he got sentenced to another 7?
Yes. Because they're
so
like, hey,
crushing.
you're one of our best
Most guys
mechanics.
are tapping out. Most guys, at that point, guys are jumping off of roofs or doing whatever they got to do.
They don't have ICE agents who are rough with you, right?
And
give you a ticket back to your old country.
Yeah.
They shoot you as a dog in the desert and let the coyotes eat you.
Yeah.
That's a different world.
100%.
And so the journey and the path that he took, that he instilled in me, was a simple thing of gratitude, right? And many times I would see him pull off like miracles. I'm like, how did you know that was even possible? And he would sit there, he's eating his soup. He's like, look over me, he goes like this. Just sitting there, like, son, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just knew that if I set a clear intention and I moved in that direction, God would support me in it. If my intention was pure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And that's massive. That's massive. And regardless of the chaos, and something I'll add to that I've seen in my life that I think people need to understand is every challenge you're faced with is a small, it's like a battle in the war of what we're talking about. Really the war of what's going to be your destiny is how many of these battles you step into and how many of these challenges you take on and what you do when you're faced with adversity and how you react to someone being disrespectful to you, or like all these little things that test your integrity, test your reaction processes. You know, are you going to wake up early in the morning and hit the gym? Are you going to eat the cookie? You're going to not eat the cookie? Like every single one of these things is testing your character. And what we find overwhelmingly is when people think they're going to rise to the occasion. They think that when the bullets start flying, all of a sudden they're going to be like this Superman and they're going to be ready to go and like, oh, it's serious now, so I'm serious now. Absolutely not. What's going to happen is you're going to degrade, you're going to operate at your baseline of performance, whether that's with a gun, a knife, or even with your character. And that's what people don't realize. And so every single day is an opportunity to build that integration, that integrity, that integration of who you truly are. And right now, there's data when you look in the mirror as to what your integration level is. When I look at you, I see your standards. I see your physical fitness standards. When I listen to you, I hear your intellectual standards. When I look at your relationships, I see your relational standards. So you got to take this inventory before you really hit the big test, whatever that is in life, whether it's your mom passing away or a car accident or the next natural disaster.
Life's gonna life.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The most difficult, most challenging times in my life that I was stripped of everything, where I couldn't put $20 in my gas tank and my wife's laying in bed crying, not knowing how we're going to make it.
This is the real man stuff right here.
When I'm getting evicted out of my house, when I lose everything that I built. And I remember fighting for those things, but that's who I identify as. That's the ego mind speaking. And inside the spirit, I'm fighting this war, and God would go, why are you fighting me? I could hear it was like a loud voice, God go, why are you fighting me? Look beneath you. And I'm like, what? Look beneath you. There's a new set of tracks. You're no longer going that way. Shed that ego. That is not who you are.
And let me rebuild you.
I'm taking you to that. There's a better destination that I have. You do not see it.
Right.
But place your trust in me. And that has happened many times in my life. So what I find is when that war comes, when that stress comes in your life, whatever, you feel like your bottom's getting dropped out, welcome it.
Let's go.
Welcome it, lean
We're really
in.
talking about some real stuff right now.
Lean in, because that's where the lessons are. That is where the growth is. And people say, well, I want to grow. I want to be a protector. I want to be this. But they don't want to go through the fire.
It's true.
And God can't use you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thank God every day. People go, you know, you get into the shit.
Yeah.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? I said, no, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Step into the unknown every single time.
Yeah.
And my intention is clear to serve. And when I look at people and they say, I'm this, I'm that, they have a great resume, they're highly trained, and I see them in a zone of a disaster zone.
Right.
I have a degree in emergency management. I'm in this position, and they're making all the wrong calls. And the wheels are coming off, and they're getting exposed. Right? And I'm watching, I'm like, oh, so it's coming up for you.
That moment.
The moment of the ego. I look really good on LinkedIn. Look at my social media profile. Look at me. I'm a hero. No. Here's the reality of it. I can't tell you how many highly trained individuals have come into my camp. And just to give you one example, we're on a tornado chase, right? And in that tornado chase, all the wheels are coming off. Tornadoes are dropping literally alongside the vehicle, and we're ripping, right? I have a convoy, maybe 6 or 7 in that convoy, right? You have the front, which is one of the guys who's an engine driver for a fire truck, so knows how to move through it, right? You have right next to it is the meteorologist, right? He's got the laptops, all the screens. He's watching all the radar controls, radar scope, and he's tracking that thing.
He's on task. He's on the board.
He's the one going, okay, we're going left, we're going right, we'll take this road to the right, and we're chasing, we're on an active chase, right?
Wow.
Behind that, you have a guy that's an engineer, a guy that can cut the electrical, got the Geiger, got the
technician,
the Drager for the gas meter, got the hot stick. We know that when we're walking on SC, when we're doing, then urban search and rescue teams on it. Then you have a drone team, which you've met many of these guys on it, right? Because you've seen them in different ops, whether we're doing border ops. But in this particular tornado chase, one of the guys, highly trained, started having a meltdown. Right? So in those type of scenarios, you're like, it's not in everybody's character. The person all of a sudden starts going inward. And I'm like, notice where you're operating from. Are you outward focused in service, or are you making this about yourself? Be a self-cleaning oven. We're in an intense situation. That is where now I see who's who.
Who's really who. Exactly. 100%.
I don't give a shit.
I don't care about your accolades.
All this other stuff, right? I don't care how many deployments. You're in the shit now. It's live.
We're here now.
You can't fake this shit.
Exactly. 100%.
Right? You're in the lineup. You're in the lineup, right? And you're about to drop in on a 20-foot wave, right? And you've been surfing all these times, and you're right next to the dude. You're like, okay. You're either going to lean in, you're going to make that drop, or you're going to get your ass handed to you. You're going to get shoved up against a reef, and you may die that day.
And I'm going to have to grab you and drag you through this thing.
So in that scenario, it was a scenario where it's like, okay, here's your bag. You're off the team. Find an Uber. Office will get you back to base camp, right? You're done. You're off.
I'm saving your life and our lives.
Because right now the focus has now it's in the back part of the convoy, right? All the attention is because this person's, there's stuff that's boiling up for them. They're peaking. Now it's no longer focused on what we have a mission to do.
So unacceptable.
And coming off just recently from the recent deployment in Texas, right? And some of the greatest SEAL operators that showed up there were because they heard the call. And the call wasn't somebody calling them. They heard the call in here. Right? And they showed up. And then other medics showed up. And a dive team, 6 hard hat dive teams that dive in the Mississippi, that are off the oil platforms. These boys are like with the ripcord. They're used to the dark waters, right?
Exactly. Walking around, it's a different planet.
They roll in with their own gear, right? They don't ask for permission. Hey, who can I serve? Who's got what? and just dial them in, and were instrumental in sweeping those rivers, right? So everybody showed up. Guys with cadaver dogs, how can I be of service?
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for individuals who have special skill sets, who want to be on the roster, who have certain things for disaster deployment, but also specific guys that are paramedics that have all their credentials are up to date.
Right.
Their ICS is up to date. All their stuff is ready to deploy on a private sector as a need be. Right? Okay. Again, we're not there to replace FEMA. Right. We work in a private sector. So a lot of our private clients are like, I could use this on this area. Right. Or if it's a foreign country where we're contracted with, I could take individuals that are part of the FEMA task force here, but because FEMA doesn't work outside of America, those guys will boom. I want to get paid. They're getting paid a premium, but they're going and doing urban search and rescue in a country that had an earthquake that needs 400 or 500 task force guys that'll deploy, and then they go private with a company like ours, SRP. So we were able to move in that. But going back to the spiritual factor of it, it's really simple. I do the work daily. And I'm not talking about you go to church, you read your Bible, whatever else. You better be authentically spiritual in your relationship with God. You better be doing the work to go, everything that is not spirit, if I'm operating anything within the ego mind, it has no place for it. Right. It just doesn't, not in the space that we're in.
You're going to make mistakes.
All the time, because you're going to be operating from your head, and the mechanics, because the mechanics are fine, but after a certain point,
you need to operate above the mechanics.
Yeah, you're just pivoting what Spirit's telling you.
100%, because you're physical. When you're in that physical mindset, when you're in that flesh or that ego, you're embedded in fear, because those things are so destructible and damageable. Yeah. And it causes you to hesitate, and it causes you to not think clearly, because you're thinking about evading destruction. It's even like having a conversation. You just want to have a conversation about truth. One person gets into their ego. Now they're in a fight for their life. They're defending, they're attacking, and it's like, listen, we want to get to the highest frequency. We want to get to spirit. We want to get to truth, the spirit of truth. You need to kill your ego and accept the fact that you could be wrong. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing in these scenarios. Because people that are grounded, especially for us men, I think this is such an important thing, us men that spend so much time building our physical bodies, building our intellect, doing jobs where very often our intellect is actually productive, our problem-solving skills are productive, and our strength makes us feel a certain way. We forget to cultivate that being centered in Christ, in our Heavenly Father, in spirit, which actually helps us operate supernaturally. And that supernaturally, above the natural, in the spirit, is actually how we're supposed to just operate. That is supposed to be our baseline. And these times of absolute chaos are when that's absolutely exploited. And I've had the same thing happen, man, where I'm overseas, we're in a combat zone, and you can see who's shook and who's not shook. You can see who's trying to get themselves hyped up because they're not grounded. In that level of like, I know my God has a plan. He wrote every single one of my days before I even arrived, before the foundation of the world is what the Bible says. Yeah. And I'm just here to execute it, walk everything out, enforce the kingdom of heaven here on this planet. And if it's my time, it's going to be perfect. If it's not my time, it's going to be perfect. But I'm in His hands. And that's how we're supposed to move as men and men of God. And that's the discipline that I think we're pointing at.
I couldn't have said that more beautifully. That was very, very well said.
Thank you.
Because you could prepare. Oh, yeah. And we have the mechanics in place, which 100%. No one says don't. Get your training, get prepared, get yourself dialed in, comms, equipment, what your gear, what your SOGs are, how you're going to deploy, whatever else. But be prepared that God has a different plan.
100%. Okay? Your plan is about to get obliterated right in front of you. But be ready to surrender to that.
Yes.
That's what a good son does. You surrender to your father's plan.
And in that moment, it's not about right or wrong.
Nope.
I always tell the guys, stop. It's just information.
100%.
Just information. Yep. And they're like, oh, I got bad news. Stop. what's the news?
Right.
Don't label it bad, good. Let me determine how I move it forward. I'm not going to label it. We just got work to do.
Things that are intended for bad sometimes work out as the best things that could have happened in the whole entire op, you know?
Yeah.
And so when you're in that flow and you're surrendered to what is and to what the Father's showing you, no matter what it is, you're just getting that guidance.
Yeah.
I love it.
The most difficult people that I get that gets in the way of operational is the operational guy.
The intellectual.
The guy that overthinks it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the guy that
intellectual
overthinks
guy.
it is sitting there waiting till everything is
He needs all the information.
Yeah.
He's moving slow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, perfect example, Hurricane Helene's headed towards Tallahassee. I push my team in there. I'm talking to Dr. Joseph Latipo, who's a Surgeon General, incredible man, one of the greatest health, Surgeon Generals I've ever met. Just speaks truth.
Yeah.
Grounded spiritually, just an incredible man. Wonderful family too. And there's teeing up to get smashed with Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene, last minute, as we're sitting there with our team already pre-deployed in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
The hurricane starts to wobble, and it bang, 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 starts banging off to the right. Now it's ripping through Perry and Steinhatchee.
Yeah.
But as it's going up into the mountains of North Carolina, I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be an absolute massive disaster.
Okay.
Because it's going to rip around this whole thing, how it's turning, and it's literally just saturating all the mountain range, bringing all the rivers into this thing that's going to cause it cresting and wipe these towns out. Now, we worked
watching a perfect storm.
Yeah, and having worked Hurricane Florence in Wilmington, where we saw how the rivers were going to flood and cause the entire
basin to kind of
Wilmington to become actually an island. We pushed in equipment, over 300 laborers, shrink wrap crews, mitigation teams, power generation, fuel cells, multiple pumps for New Hanover Hospital, which we did the infrastructure for. The roof came off. We shrunk wrap under the roof, kept the water off the power panels. They did 17 life-saving surgeries because God also was prompting me, you need to talk to the hospital and push this stuff in earlier. The hospital director was receptive and worked beautifully with us.
Beautiful.
Even did a testimonial. We have a video testimonial of him just sharing that type of stuff.
Awesome.
Hurricane Helene, one of my main guys, Michael Saavedra, Miami Fire Rescue. You know Mike.
Yeah.
He's like, we got to push into Helene. And I'm like, what are you hearing? He goes, the task force guys are not getting activated. We got to get up in there, and I feel that we got some serious rescues that are going to come our way. That we just got to show up. The prompting, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I trust that information.
There was no second guessing it.
Right.
And the question is, I didn't hear the message. He heard the message.
Right.
I trust him, and I trust his faith in God, right? Because the message may come from others.
Yeah, and that frequency, like when someone's delivering that message, you'll pick up, the spirit of truth.
Yep.
My sheep know my voice. Like you'll hear that it's something about, I will just use the word frequency that it comes with, and I'm like, that's the truth. Yeah. Like it resonates with you. And then when someone's coming from fear, they can have the best of math equation, they can have it all, and I'll just be like, I just don't listen to that. Yeah. I just don't follow that frequency.
And we didn't know where we're going, where we're going to show up, in what town, and what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We just knew that based on the terrain, based on the areas that we're going to get completely wiped out, the only way to access those areas was going to be through rotors, small aircraft, small helicopters. It's going to need helicopters. I always look at it, what is the need? And the need is going to be helicopters, medical, to get to those areas, and communication. We pull into one of the first airports called Hickory. As I'm walking in with our team, my helicopter pilot's there. He's also a flight instructor, former military, just got out. Yeah. And everyone's leaving out of this airport. They're just leaving. The place was left just to spin it up. So we set up an org chart. Former battalion chief, Sam Eaton, John Knox, who you know. Now he's one of the directors over in Asper, right? In D.C. working for this administration, which is just beautiful, right? How things go.
To watch that whole story.
Yeah. And then people just off the internet on Facebook going, my mom's here, this person needs insulin, this person's on dialysis, they're about to go septic, this is their coordinates, this is the area, and then talking to the rural fire departments, because we just started flying birds to specific LZs, these rural fire departments.
Wow.
And the medical director walks in and says, I need to see your credentials. My guys, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Here's oxygen, here's insulin, here's this, here's that. Here's the LZ, here's the location, here's a person, and then grab that, get a tail number, and then people started flying in from everywhere because we posted online through a independent helicopter network, and they were coming in from everywhere.
Awesome.
And so we stood up that airport. Elon Musk delivered over 1,000 Starlinks, including Tina Blanco from the satellite phone store. She delivered all types of sat radios, sat phones, and donated it, right? Get this
Shout
to the
out
USAR
to
teams.
Sat phone store, satellite phone store, right? Yeah, shout out to Tina. We love you, Tina. She's been taking care of our teams for years. She's awesome. If you guys need satellite phone gear, equipment, anything like that, you got to hit up the satellite phone store. Tina, her team will take care of you. That's who we go through. That's who
just because how she contributes and how they donated and how they showed up and supported the SAR teams, and again, at no cost, like just outflowing. But that being said, being able to deliver it. So we stood up Hickory, then we stood up Foothill. Then the gentlemen, the great people over at Samaritan's Purse called us and they said, hey, Steve, we could really use your assistance in setting up a whole command center for us out of Boone, North Carolina, and organizing this whole situation. So we put 2 team members that ran the org, and then there's about another group of us with the paramedics I brought in, and then they started teaming up. Dr. Phil flew in for that, and the Samaritan's Purse, the main directors there. And then we organized getting the medical aspect of it. They had dropped off some engineers from Starlink. And so we were flying these engineers all over the mountain so they can actually finish the mesh network, like the grid for the satellite systems. And over 500 rescue missions and over 1,000 Starlinks delivered.
Wow.
And the thing was all
500 rescue missions. I just want to make sure you guys that didn't just fly by. Wow.
And it was all based on the prompting of God within one individual or multiple individuals, and us all just saying, "Time to go." Don't have to figure it out. God will, if you have a clear intention to go serve. There will be a place where you'll fit in. And the challenge that many times when I sit there and I see people who want to complain online, saying, that system, they didn't have a proper alert system, this is cloud seeding. And again, all that stuff is true. Okay, all of it's true. And I know it very well. Okay, 35 plus years in this game, you know what's what.
Seen a thing or two.
A lot of questionable stuff. I mean, even when you went to Hawaii with us and we went there was things that were very questionable.
Very questionable. Very.
That is not explainable. Different topic, right?
Online right now, explainable. Anyway.
But the point is, my frustration is, as soon as you open your mouth, as soon as you open your mouth and say, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, I ask the person, so how well are you prepared? Do you have a go bag in your trunk of your car? Does it have a flotation device in it? Do you have a seatbelt cutter and a PD that you have strapped onto your rear view mirror? Or are you going to try to dig through the shit through your glove box with everything else in it, not remember where you're at? You're deploying from your vehicle. Right? Do you live in a brush area? Right? What type of fire suppression system do you have? Do you have private fire? Again, another area that we specialize in. Right? Do you have spark arresters on your roof? Are you using any type of fire retardant to lay down what's your defensible space?
Cover
Right?
100%.
Are you in an area, and again, people go, well, I don't live in a brush area. Well, I don't live near a river. Well, wait a minute.
Every area presents its own equation.
How about the people that were there for 4th of July vacationing? Did the husband, who's the protector of the family, go, wait, maybe I should look at what is going on here. Let me look at the weather forecast.
Let me just do a quick risk, threat, and vulnerability assessment on the trip that I'm going to take my family on.
And did I turn all my notifications off, including my emergency notifications, because sometimes they're annoying.
They're annoying. I know it happened. I know it, So, I mean, with that, let's transition, I guess, into the more practical aspect. And just a quick reminder, you guys, we have a training coming up, the California Grid Down Survival Training Package. This is where we cover all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We cover getting prepared. We cover mobility. We cover overlanding out, setting your vehicle up, getting vehicles unstuck. We cover finding building fires, water, purification, building shelters, processing animals, plant identification, what you can eat, what you can't eat, all those different things, what medicines you can find naturally, building out your go bag, bugging in, bugging out, go, no go criteria, comms. Like the course is a 72-hour submersive, absolutely immersive training package. So you live it. There's a force on force component. So you're dealing with setting security for your tribe, maintaining that security, dealing with raids, learning how to set an ambush, all the things that you're going to need in order to survive. So keep an eye out for that. The links will be underneath this video, this podcast, and that's coming up. So, yeah.
And you know, to me, having been on the last one where we trained together as a group,
that's so good.
What I loved about it was that each one of us brought a very specific dynamic skill set, and then tools and resources and equipment. Like, I'm like, what is that? Oh, this is what you use in this type of scenario. I'm like, where do you get that? Oh, here's the place you buy it. I'm like, I've never seen that, but what an incredible tool that I could add to my thing.
You get it. You're going through a bug out bag of a Delta Force operator, one of the top survival experts in the world, an emergency disaster relief personnel. Like, you're looking at the equation from all of these different elite high level perspectives.
Yeah.
Every single equation, because that's the training staff that's there with you while we move through a catastrophic emergency.
And just the amount of information and practical tools, and then doing the work.
And then doing it.
So the difference is every person that went through the training, I could see their change in their eyes, the clarity.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're sleeping in that shelter with the bears and the wolves and everything else, and you're hearing all these sounds, I promise you, you're connecting to nature, and there's an animal instinct that gets woken up.
That's been asleep for
and
a while.
you're like, whoa. And I remember one of the guys when I asked him, I said, so how was your experience? He goes, my wife didn't recognize me. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'm so much more confident. You know, I'm clear about my mechanics, and I just feel like I could take this on. I could survive this thing. And I was joking. I'm like, so you finally took your balls back? You found them? What is it, right?
One of my favorites was, you know what? I really respected the military before this. He's like, but man, I really respect the military now. You know, I was like, yeah, you get a taste of
it.
Hey,
the problem in America is
so easy.
Everyone's so used to going, and they're complaining, and it irks me when they're bitching at Starbucks about their triple filtered caramel macchiato doesn't have enough frosting or temperature or foam
ice or whatever
syrup on it, right? I'm like, oh my God,
we're so blessed.
So we're bringing all the knowledge of living in these disaster zone, former military, 100%. Knowing what it's like to live off of grid. I thank God because I get that education, and every time there's a new lesson, and bringing all that information and education to those that attend. And I always say, where I operate from is going to be a direct reflection of where I'm operating from.
100%.
So the extreme accountability that we have and responsibility that we have is so critical, because every time I step into an op, I check where I'm at. Every time I talk to every one of my guys who got their, I'm ready, I ask them, so talk to me. And that talk to me is not just surface soul. I'm talking to the soul.
How you been?
Where you at? How's the family? Did you handle all the mechanics? Have you handled everything so you could be 100% focused, outward focused on the mission? Have you taken care of, where's your relationship at? How is it with your wife? How's it with your kids? Have you handled all your finances? Have you made sure that nothing is going to disrupt you from you being 100% focused for the people that are calling on you, that God has sent you in to serve with all your skill set, with all your tools? Where are you at? That's my thing, is to tune into that. Then when I'm in an op, if something shows up in this space, It's not about them. I ask myself, how is it? What is it I wasn't clear in my life, in how I showed up, that this would show up in my space? Because that's my result.
Right.
They can hold their own accountability.
So
it's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Right. And when I look at my family and I look at my relationship and things show up in our relationship with me and my wife, I don't say what's coming up for her.
Right.
There may be things coming up for her, but what is it in my life that produced this result?
What I'm staring at. Yeah.
What is it financially that I can't do this? What is it that I ignored, denied, and chose not to do?
Right.
That this showed up in my space.
Yeah.
No, and that's the conversation that men have to be having. We have to be having with ourselves, man. We've got to take full responsibility for everything, because you can't change what you can't take responsibility for.
Yeah.
You know, and that way of life is the only way to move forward. You can't leave these things up to other people. You can't like the blaming, none of it. I will take responsibility for everything, and I will make it serve God's purpose in my life by the grace of God. And that's the type of animal juggernaut you got to be, especially in these situations where there's so much chaos. You know. As we look at like these emergencies, you know, to give people some notes of preparation and considerations based on like what you're seeing. And make no mistake, I still believe we're in the year of the black swan. Like I'm still waiting for the next thing that's on this schedule. What emergency is coming up next? We had the fires that we worked together, you know, that seemed to have come out of nowhere and just did so much damage. And the lack of preparation that we were helping people deal with on the back end of that was just, it was devastating. We started doing the California Grid Down Survival Training, like almost a year before that, because we knew we were going into, because in our world, you know, the disaster relief world, the private security world, we've been getting messages about where we're at and what's probably coming in terms of, you know, terrorist attacks, October 7th style, simultaneous attacks, fires. There's EMPs, the hacker scenario around cybersecurity. There are a number of things that are projected to be probabilities that we should be preparing for. And so kind of where I want to start kind of talking to people about is like disaster preparedness. Take a look at where you're at, and then add to this as you see fit. Take a look at where you're at. What are the risk, threats, and vulnerabilities relevant to you based on your behavior, your location, where you're at, and start thinking your way through these equations. Like some of this stuff is tradecraft knowledge, but so much of it is common sense. Like, what medicine do you need to survive? Why don't you have 3 to 6 months of medicine, right? How much food does your family require? You could literally go on Amazon, drop a few $1,000s, and solve it for the next 3 to 6 months. And that's just Amazon. There are better vendors, but like there's ways to start looking at these equations. How can I have water? Do I have medical equipment in my house? Do I know how to do basic trauma medicine? Do I have those capabilities, right? Do I have force multipliers? Do I have a cold position near my home if there's an emergency that my family knows to retreat to if there's a fire? Can they get out of the second story? If I live in an area where there may be a fire, can they get out of the second story? Is there a ladder in their room? So thinking through what's relevant to where I live, and can I think through these equations before they start? Granted, of course, you can always get the training from us online. We have the last California Grid Down online. You can actually go and watch that and prepare yourself. But I want you guys to start thinking through these things. So maybe what are some things that you've seen where people could have prepared better in some of these emergencies that could help them?
You know, the plan is really important. A lot of people think that it's never going to happen.
That's the worst.
Person,
that's the worst thing you can think about.
Who sticks his head in the sand because he's lazy and he doesn't want to do the work.
Or afraid.
Okay.
Fear as well.
Yeah. But again, it's an uncomfortable thing to think about. When I talk about disaster planning, and I do it for all types of clients, right? Across the world.
Right.
Governments, hospitals.
Civilians.
And what I do is I just watch the climate, right? And when I see many of my ultra rich clients setting off-grid operations,
getting prepared. Same here.
So what is it they know that I don't know? But I know what they know because they're coming to us and saying, hey,
come and do it. Yeah.
I need an entire solar system, power generation, water. I need to be able to sustain myself completely off the grid.
Right.
And some of them
Same here.
been on the news about their bunkers.
Yeah.
Who we have people who and I know that provide security for them and are part of that, was part of that build out, including some of my people. So I know how these systems work.
Right.
You could put together a really simple plan, have the gear, have 6 months of food, right? That is all those tutorials you can see online.
Right.
You can know your lay of the land of where you're at, but just know that you may not be there.
Right.
So you should have a sat phone on you all the time.
Yeah.
And be able to move in and around the space that you're at.
Sat phone. Yeah.
There's so much to cover on that type of stuff. It's not something that you would cover in a podcast. It's more of a, and I always say this.
Listen, it's come to the training. Come to the training.
So you can put together the greatest kit, the greatest bag, but you're right. Unless you take those tools, you go drill in a grid down scenario. Listen, I'm driving that military Humvee, coming down that mountain, not realizing that how long that terrain was. I didn't stop, started to glaze my brakes, had to pull the emergency brake on it to slow my shit down, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then one of the things that broke on it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to continue. And it was, again, either abandoned. Well, I had a tote. I didn't ban that thing. But again, those are the types of scenarios. Like, you may not have the things that you feel you have, and you can have everything the most best prepared, but at the end of the day, you still got to move forward. And one of the best things that I always tell people is I always lean it out. There's a lot of weight there. You know, I remember when some of my rookies would go and deploy, the guy, I'm like, what did you bring to the airport? I gave you a list. A Pelican Air, you're not using a Pelican Air, you're using another thing. That just that weight is over 100 pounds. It ain't getting on the flight.
First patrol, the guy's got a freaking, you know, he's like, I'm ready. And you're like, bro, you know. And, and the OG's got like a rifle, couple mags, and a pack of cigarettes. And they're just like, you got some water, I got a canteen. You know, like,
you're going to pass out.
100%.
You're never going to make it to the finish line.
You're not going to be able to fight.
So those are many times the things, like I have very specific checklist for what we're moving to. Right. And you don't bring everything to it. You bring what you absolutely need. And the rest of it, I'm like, I can pick that up there. Now, in a grid down scenario, like during the Great Depression, do you know what made the front page? One deer.
One deer?
Yeah, they found one deer in the woods because people like always say, well, I got guns, I'm going to go hunt.
I can go hunt,
Everyone's hunting.
Everybody is friggin' hunting.
And when the squirrels are all gone, after the big game's gone, what are you eating?
Geez, man. Right? And that's why we're training.
So when you have those scenarios, you're prepping, you're getting everything organized. Day one is critical. And most people are hesitant, right? They're like, power's going to go back on. No. Act as if it's not, because by day 3, you're like, oh, this thing could be a long time scenario.
And you got those first 24 hours to hit that go, no go criteria of, am I staying in place or am I making moves? And if you don't make those decisions, you're staying in place. And depending on where you live, you might be there for the purge. You know?
And if you're in a big city, the first thing you want to do is get out. Like
100%. What do they call it? Pro tip: if you're in a big city, get out.
My wife, my kids all have go bags. They all have sat phones. They all know that if there's a situation it's in a city, and we live outside the city, which thank God, out great locations, remote, right on the edges of it. But I have everything in place of what I have in my home. And then at that moment where I go to, specifically from a warehouse, not on the main stores, to pull what I need to my location, I'm ready to go. Right? Because the thing is, here's the thing. I'm privy to intel that many people don't have. They're like, why are you doing this? I said, because I have information you don't. It was the same thing during COVID. They're like, you're flying to all these hospitals. We're doing the decon for the COVID rooms. But I already knew that things were not lining up.
Right.
I'm like, we're setting up neg air containment, but we're not going in with air. This is not deadly. We're using microban Benefect to wipe the shit down. That's what you do for mold. There's nothing special here.
Yeah.
Right? And so not only the hospital, but even Justin Bieber called us to go look at his place.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, we could fog this place. Here's the cost.
Yeah.
But what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, and it's I have information you don't, and I know what happens when these disasters happen and there's a lack of preparedness.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm talking with our security clients about all the time is like, they're like, oh, well, you know, you're living in this other realm. It's like, no, this is my realm. And I know what happens to people who don't take these things seriously. I live in that place. Yeah.
You know what the biggest problem is with people? A lot of men are proud.
The pride, yeah.
You know, listen, there's no pride.
Yeah.
There's no heroes.
100%.
If you're not part of a community, if you're not connecting with us and connecting with our groups, I have an incredible community. Why? Because you know, I'm like, hey man, teach me.
Yep. 100%.
Show me. Why do you have that? Why do you have that? I keep them in the question. They're like, why so many questions? I'm like, I want to know how you think, how you move, what in your life brought you to this point to put this in your bag.
100%.
Right?
100%.
I see that. Let me touch it. Let me feel it. Let me move through it. Okay. Hey, you know what? I got this. You got that? That's cool. How does that work? That works good for this. And so, you know what? Community.
That's
because when the
massive.
shit goes down, do you know what it is? It's like, I got a guy.
I got a guy. And that's like one of the best things you want to hear when it goes down.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things. I love it, man. Well, it's an honor, absolutely, to do the things that we've done, do the things that we're going to be doing together, you know, to be building the way that we're building together, and to be leaning into this training with you guys. You know, it's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. I really hope, you know, I think it was wise of us to launch this training going into this year. You know, I really hope people saw that and they were like, you know, because I know when I first started marketing California Grid Down Survival, some people were like, oh, this is overkill. Then the fires happened, and then the cyber attacks planes started getting grounded, you know, the rolling blackouts started happening, and people started being like, oh, well, I think there's something to this, right? There absolutely is, and if there isn't, thank God you have the training anyways, you know? Because,
and I can't tell you how many guys go, I have it. I'm a hunter. I'm off thing. I'm like, hey, there's things you have zero knowledge
100%.
about that you have no idea in that space that brings you value.
100%.
And at the end of the day, after all that value, the community that you build within that, of going through that process, those are the people you're like, hey, that guy's a medic, that guy's a welder, this guy's a diver. Here's a scenario that we're in. Oh my God. And then those guys are going to align themselves with like energy, right? Spiritually minded, grounded, organized protectors. They have the qualities, they have the skill set, but at the end of the day, they're not the guy that goes off in a camp that you're like, oh shit.
Why is
you get killed? You know what I mean? Like, what was that, right? Right? The guy's head wasn't on straight and he fractured. Do you know what I mean?
100%. 100%. No, like attracts like, and that's another thing that comes out of this is community. We still have the last group. Those guys still are chatting. Those guys, some of them are talking already like, hey, I want to come back and just get a refresher on what we did. You know what I mean? So you have, especially if you live out here, now you're going to start building a community. Get plugged into the Man and Peace Project, the Protector Nation. What we're doing with Sabre and SRP, like the community is honestly, I'd say it's probably the most valuable piece of the whole entire thing. Get out there, sweat, maybe bleed a little bit with people who you want to be downrange with. That's a massive value add. So
yeah, two things, because again, you're getting that part of it, but then at the end of it, you're like, hey, I want to be in the roster for the private fire side of it. I'm a drone pilot. I could use you on the SAR team. And again, to run thermal drones. Why? Not just the bodies in the water, but follow the hogs to the water, right? Look at the vultures, right? They're surrounded. Like there's skill sets that certain people have. They're like, plug me in. Now the person's getting paid, right? So that they're also using the skill set in what they're spent time training for, but then they can also come off for 4 or 5 days and be part of a team on a deployment.
And I can't tell you how many guys we work with that they got in the network by coming and training. So that's like, if you're looking to get into either of our networks,
come out and put some freaking miles in with the boys.
Yeah. That's if you're trying to figure out how to get in the circle, that's how you get in the circle. You come in, you put some miles in with the boys, we get to know each other, and then we trust you. You know, we trust you a lot more. So outstanding.
Powerful.
100%. It's such an honor. I'm looking forward to everything. We put this stuff together for you guys, and for the season I believe we're in as America, really. So whenever you're watching this, it doesn't matter. Check beneath this video, hit the link. We're gonna continue doing these trainings. This is just the beginning. And Steve, man, it's such an honor to be on this journey with you and to be doing all the awesome things that we're doing together, man. God is good.
God is good. It's an honor. You know, today was the 30,000 foot view.
Yeah.
And they want to get granular. That the grid down will do it, because nothing beats experiential.
Nothing beats experience.
And they have the answers within them. It's not us giving them the answers. They'll discover it for themselves and go,
100%.
okay, cool, this is what I deserve in my life.
Heck yeah. I love it.
Get prepared.
Yeah.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Let's go.
Amen.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Boom. What's up, guys? So check it out. Podcast, all the free content, all the things are supported by Patreon. So if you're listening to any of these episodes and it's a blessing to you, it's helping you in life, we now have our Patreon platform up. It's also a really cool place where I consolidate all my content, and so you actually get to see everything, because the algorithms, for whatever reason, don't always show you everything. But anyways, if you want to support the podcast, this stuff's not free. Getting these videos edited, published, paying people to do all this stuff, syndication strategy, putting it all out, it ain't free. But it's an honor to do so, and I believe it's my work, and it's what God wants me to do. So if you guys want to join forces and help support that work, I want to invite you to check in the show notes, join us on Patreon. The whole give a cup of coffee. For what you pay for a cup of coffee, you can really help me out quite a bit, actually getting this thing going, keeping this thing going. All right, God bless, Semper Fi. Thank you for being here. We love you guys. Boom. When it comes to the technology you use to protect your home, there's nothing better than Deep Sentinel, AI-driven, human-monitored technology that will keep you and your family safe for the same price you're paying for whatever Ring doorbell system you have. Check out Deep Sentinel. It's such an honor to join forces with these guys. They should be in every single house in the world. Get real-time Overwatch for you and your loved ones. And for 10% off, depending on when you're watching this, don't forget to use code Byron at checkout. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God.